what is Azure Virtual Desktop, and when did you first get introduced to Azure Virtual Desktop?
So Azure Virtual Desktop is Azure's implementation of a virtual desktop infrastructure in the cloud. I think it's a really awesome product. I got introduced to it a few years ago. Liked it immediately, saw the potential for it, and was like, wow, this is going to be an amazing product. And I think, people are going to want to have this in their environment, especially when it comes time for, hardware refreshes where you don't want to spend money on those desktops and laptops. This is a perfectly viable way to go and an awesome way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a great product. I think, I cut my teeth early on in my engineering career managing remote desktop servers. I think many of us did, right? Windows remote desktop services with those web gateways, and I always think of this as the baby of that, right? This is Microsoft taking that technology, migrating it to the cloud, but really solving some of the fundamental challenges with it. I think it competes directly with many of Citrix products and the VMware Horizon, a few of those other products out there. But I think there's some real advantages to the Microsoft implementation of AVD. I think their solution has some really, really cool capabilities. What are some of your favorite capabilities of AVD, Jeremy?
Well, number one is the multi-session with Windows 10 and Windows 11. It's only available through Azure AVD. Before you could only get that with the server. And to me, that was the game changer right there, because most of our users are going to be Windows 11, Windows 10. And to minimize costs, you can have multiple people logged into the same machine.
Yeah, that Windows that scalability that provides, right? You can buy a pretty decent server in Azure. Well, that's an expensive cost if it's dedicated to one user. So if it was a VDI environment, a lot of times you're going to buy a much smaller VM so that you can manage costs, and
Yes.
you get some of that lack of scalability. Whereas with AVD, we've had people with 25, 30, 35, 40 users on a server, depending on how it's spec'd, and it performs well, and it can scale out as well, right? You can spin up 2 servers and the 3 servers, and spin them up at night, spin them down, spin them up during the day, turn them off at night. There's a lot of flexibility and scalability from a performance up capability. So yeah, that's definitely one of the big advantages of the product.
And the other thing I would say is to leverage Azure's infrastructure and their backup features and capabilities and the resilience that they offer being in the cloud. And you're not paying for any of that equipment. That's already there for you to take advantage of.
Yeah, and you actually get some cost savings too over like a traditional remote desktop server or other VDI products, because if you're running a business premium, a Microsoft 365 business premium, or E3 or E5, it includes that virtual use, that Azure hybrid use benefit license. So you can run that Windows 10 and 11. You're not paying a client access license fee. You're not paying an OS fee. It's all included. So yeah, you definitely get some really, really good optimization there. I really like the security features, having run remote desktop and in, the late teens, watching customers get compromised because they had an RDP portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was, for a long time, I remember 10, 20 years ago, we'd have all these 3389 ports open for all the different devices and a site that people were remoting into from home, right? There was a different world. And then the threat actors got smart to that. And then we put in a web gateway in front, right? Where you were only opening 443, but that web gateway is still a place they can go hammer on with brute force and try to log in and try to get around. One of the things I love about remote desktop, about Azure Virtual Desktop, is the session is initiated from the authentication flow. So you authenticate to Microsoft, then it builds the tunnel. So there's no open ports. Your servers aren't sitting on the internet for somebody to hack against. They're not public facing web servers or open ports. It's all kind of session based through Microsoft's infrastructure. And so you get all the advantages of no open ports, and you can really apply a lot of your conditional access policies to it. So you can get really granular of, hey, for this remote desktop server, you can't get in until you'll put a FIDO key into your authenticator app on Office 365 or whatever layers you want. You can really get granular and particular about access rules.
Yeah, that was my last feature that I really liked. That security feature and that reverse tunnel, but also eliminates the need to have a dedicated VPN to be able to reach these devices securely. So I thought that was another game changer with the service that they were providing.
Absolutely. And that's true from Windows, Mac, Android, Apple, iPad, iPhone. They all have the same Windows client that you can remote in with. And you don't have to have, like you said, a VPN or be on the right network or have it just, you authenticate in the app and then it shows you the sessions you have access to. And I think is a really good use case is those bring your own device scenarios, right?
Oh
You've
yeah.
got, like you said, you've got some old machines or maybe you've got contractors that you don't want to buy them a $1,800 laptop. So you give them a Azure Virtual Desktop environment. All the work they're doing is in your environment, not on their local device. So I don't care what you use it at home, your Mac, your iPad. When you do work for me, you do it in my environment and I control all the variables. Or you've got employees or that sort of thing where you want that sort of scenario. It really gives you a lot of flexibility on how they access your systems.
Yeah, and on top of that, for the added security, with these bring your own devices, depending on, conditional access policies, Intune management, they have to meet certain specifications required by the company before they can even remote into that virtual machine. And also we can eliminate the ability to cut and paste to the local machine. So the data stays in the cloud. And when that person's done with their work, your data and all the work that's been done is safe and secure.
Yeah, absolutely.